Hey, what's up, everybody? Others chart. Basically, everything outside of the top 10, all of the altcoins, what is happening on this chart. We're going to look at XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Theta, and let's get started. So, first of all, right, we had our bull cycle, we had our bear cycle, which was an expanded flat A, B, C, and then we started impulsing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the question is, do we have an ABC working here? And if we do, then we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. Now here's where it gets really interesting. You can see this is probably the most bearish part of the chart right here. And you could say, why? The wave is going up, not down. How could this be more bearish than this? Well, because what it's doing, you can see, let's actually, no, we'll use this. So you can see we have a three-wave move, right? So if that's an A, that could be a B, right? And B waves are traps. And another reason it could potentially be a B, right? There's no guarantee, but you can see right here, we're flipping green, red, green, red. That's not good, especially when you're in the retrace levels. So if we pull this down, but I'm also going to show some good things too. But this chart in particular, we're stuck right in the lower part of the retrace. I mean, we're not even up here. We're still down here, right? So there's some weakness for sure on this chart, right? Remember, this has been going up for the last 2 years. This chart, if people don't, it basically went up under their nose. They didn't even realize it. This is 2023. So it went up all of 2023, right? And then all of 2024. So this chart has been going up in 5 waves for the last 2 years. So people are greedy enough to think that it's just going to keep going. Well, I do. I think it's going to keep going, but I don't know if this wave is going to be, the question is it happening now or is it happening later? That's the question, right? A, B, C, right? So but here's the problem. On other charts, this right here is an ABC, right? If we pull up theta, that's why this is challenging, right? Because if you look at theta, right, you have that 3-wave pullback. It looks awesome. You have Wyckoff down here. It looks like it's going to break out, and I believe it will, right? But, which chart is telling the truth here? Is it because this to me looks like a 5-wave move? If it's not a 5-wave move, that would be better. And you say, well, I thought we want 5s. Well, we do, but if this, for example, is 1, 2, and this is wave 3, this right here could be A, B, C, and that could be our wave 4, right? And wave 4 is an A, B, it's an running flat versus, let's look at, let's see here. No. I want to see, I'm way down here. I want to see, like AVAX, ICP, something like that. But real quick, Binance coin. I mean, I don't have this coin. I don't use Binance, but damn, this thing looks. The reason why it looks interesting is because you have your ABC, you have a double bottom, you have an impulse, and you have this gorgeous flat right there. It's a running flat. Look at that thing. That thing looks deadly. You got 3 down, you got 3 up. I mean, it's a really nice flat. So you have an impulse, you're working the range, you break the range, and you're like right there. So that's interesting. But if we look at something like VeChain, it doesn't quite look like a 5-wave move. I mean, I guess you could say it's a diag, it's a 5-wave move like that. But if we look at, for example, something like near or ICP or avax or theta, or there, it has a much better shape, right? It has that impulse, but it gives us that 3-wave shape. So but near is part of the others, right? So some of the charts on others are weak, some of them are strong. It could be that a lot of coins will go on a bull run, but a lot of coins will not. And that's why you see like total 3 looks more bullish than others, right? Because the further you are in the top 10, the more strength there is, because of the more uncertainty there is, right? If there's a lot of fear and uncertainty, you're not going to be in a coin that's in the 557th market cap position. You're going to be in something that's trustworthy and strong. So, but if we do have, like, for example, I was talking about Ethereum breaking out, that gives confidence to the altcoins. And then those smaller guys can start to break out. And then the little tiny guys can start to break out, right? So it's all about building that confidence up. So, but right here, I mean, to me, either this is a 1-2 and we're just in the middle of this 3-way pullback and we're going to keep dumping. And that's going to be, some kind of, impulse and a 3-way pullback. I mean, that would be pretty bad, right? Or if this is, a double bottom in here, we have an impulse, a 3-way pullback, we're consolidating. This should start to push up, right? And get back up into here, and then maybe we can get like an inverse head and shoulders or something. But let's take a look at XRP. So let's look at, here we go. So XRP is also in a very dangerous place because of what it created, right? Let's zoom in on this. You can see very clearly that, I mean, it really comes down to 2 ideas on the big time frames. And that is breakout now, breakout later. Breakout later is 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and now we're going to get 3 waves down, or 5, and then go up. And that creates a base, because we don't really have a base, really. We got 2 hits at the top, we got 1-2 hits at the bottom, but it would be better if we came down and it would create a more solid base. Hit to the high, hit to the low, hit to the high, hit to the low, hit to the high, hit to the low, right? And essentially what that could look like is, it could, if it's a C wave, right, it could be very fast. So be A, B, and C. And if this is A, actually, no, you're going to need this guy right here. So this would be 1, 2, and now we're starting to go down 3, 4, and 5. And it would be fast and furious and alarming for a lot of people. But if that happens, I would imagine the Bitcoin chart would look pretty ugly. But at the same time, we still have confluence in the Bitcoin dominance chart. And, we have the stock market near all-time highs. We have certain things that are good. But we also have the Russia stuff and the China trade and Jerome Powell and all the interest rate stuff. It's just a lot of dynamic that could flip it either way. So that's why we kind of have to ignore it in a sense and just focus on the structure. So this is the worst case scenario in my book, right? This is the worst case scenario in my book. We come all the way back down to, $2. We come back down to, I wouldn't say two. I'd say like 209 or so. Between 209 and 230. So it would be this zone right here, because it would be most likely a running flat because the B wave took the high here. You could see, right? So if I put this range right here, that's probably where it would go, looking at the bearish scenario, right? So if we take from here to here, look at that. That lines up pretty nicely. So you could see the 618. So between 206 and 240. I mean, that's where you would want to go. You wouldn't want to go any lower than that. So it'd be something like that. Kind of, and you see a rise, a crash, a retrace that took the high. Then you come down into reaccumulation. You go sideways a little bit, and then you start rampaging right during the most bullish season of the year, which is the end of the year. So spring, January, February, March, April, bullish, right? October, November, December, bullish, typically, right? But summer is typically bearish. Between May and September is usually bearish. Between October and April is usually bullish. I mean, that's just how it's usually going, right? So today is Wednesday. We got a little bit of volatility. Remember, tomorrow is Thursday. So we should see a good amount of volatility, either up or down. That's one of the hottest trading days of the week. So there we go. And if we take all this off, and then we look at it a lot more closer, right? And let's take all this off. And what we could do is we could actually measure if this is an impulse to the downside, because we do technically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. You can interpret it as 3 or 5, but boom, and then we'll come up to here. There we go. So yeah, we would want to see a 1-to-1 extension here coming down here, right? And that would give us a 3-wave shape, and then maybe a little bit more down, boom, and then finally hit the low around the 1618. So between 212 and 225. Give me a 5-wave move in here, right? I'm painting the reality of the situation because we have all of this. Actually, let me do it like this. We have this zone right in here that we have not back tested, right? So you see the cluster of candles, right? It's a cluster of candles in here. It's a very important zone. You could see all of that in there, all of that in there. You could see the points in here, right? Very important zone. So what happened is we went into the zone, we came to the bottom of the zone, we broke out of the zone, but we never back tested the zone. Now it could be subjective of where the zone actually is. I mean, I could say, well, it's up here, but I would actually put it right there because that would be the most touches. Boom, 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 right? These are a little bit higher, but boom, 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 right? Boom, boom. I mean, that's the zone. And that zone is around 260. So if this had to come down in an A, B, C, and now we're getting into the bullish idea, which is my primary idea, my main idea. But before I do that, real quick, if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we back tested or we re-entered the zone and tested it, or better yet, back test it, then we can start going up, right? Because You know, we're in the zone, we break the zone, we come back down, we break below the zone, we come back up, we break above the zone. So it's trying to figure out, well, what is it? It's gravitating towards this zone. When it gets too bearish, it comes back. When it gets too bullish, it could come back to home base. This is your home. This is where XRP feels comfortable, right? So if this can flag out into the zone, backtest the zone, and then break out, that would be the idea. And then also what that would do is give us a monster 1 2 1 2, right? 1 2 1 2. Now this would be the bullish case, so we could get rid of that. Now the bullish case is that there's two. Now let's focus on the smaller time frames. This right here, right? So the larger time frames, 3 3 3 go, or 3 1 2 1 2 go, right? Now the smaller time frames, we have an impulse. Actually, let me zoom in here. So if we look at this, we have an impulse, right? 3 3 and 3. So WXY, three-way pullback, boom, right? And then what's happening now? It's not so nice looking, but we have, maybe we're starting to come up here, right? And then basically just break out. So there's your three-way pullback. We're getting a double bottom in here, and we're just going to break out. So that would be the first idea. Not the main idea, but that's the first bullish idea. It'd be very simple. We would just start to go from the area we're at. The other idea is that this is 1 2 3 4 5 A, and then this is 1 2 3 B, and now we're starting to come down in C, and C is going to be finished soon, and then once it's finished, then we start blasting off to $5 plus, right? And that would be the idea that I like the most, because it makes the most sense, right? Boom, 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 and then go, right? I mean, it looks perfect. It looks perfect. You're right at the top here. You broke out. You have that flag, and then you push higher. From a structure perspective, it looks on point, really, really nice. Now, the other idea is that this is a B wave, and it's a trap, and it's still going to give us the ABC. But the difference is, look at this. You have 5 waves down, right? 1 2 3 4 5 A, and then what you have here is 3 waves up, right? 3 waves down, and then what's going to happen is you're going to shoot up in 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Get everybody super bullish. But what happened? What did you just do? You just made an ABC. You just created a 3-wave move. So that would be your B wave, right? So we shoot up. Everyone believes, okay, this is it for real this time. But it's actually just a B wave. And then what happens? We do one of these guys right here. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So A, B, C. And then you go up. So basically, you would have to go all the way up, all the way back down again, then all the way back up. It's like you went to the store and you forgot something, so you had to go home and get your wallet, and then now you're back at the store. It's like, dude. So that's it. That's really it. That's what it really comes down to, is how this thing gets worked out. So you can see, back when we were up here, I didn't come out with a lot of videos because I had upload issues, but also because there's really nothing there, right? You're in the retrace levels. You have point A, point B, here's point C right here. Anything can happen in point C. It could have broke out, it could break down. Well, guess what? It decided to come down. So now it showed its hand, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this. And let's zoom in further. And when we look at this, it does not look so nice. It looks a little bit, I just don't like how it channels like that. I don't like how it's bottlenecking. I like more oscillation This is more respecting a trend line, but trend lines are meant to be broken. So it's got me a little perplexed, but basically what we have is, let's see, 3, 3, and then 3. So that's 3. And then you have 3 there. Okay, so that could be A. This right here could be a B. And now this is coming down like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for C. So it could be finished. It could be finished. So I got in around 288 or so, just to see, just to throw my hat in the ring and see if it sticks and see if we, get moving here, because otherwise it's not finished. The risky part is that this is just going to slam down, which is actually the main idea, right? Because this would be an ABC then, right? It would give us that shape. But if this shoots up, then we could potentially break out from here, or this could be a B wave, then we have to come down and then break out. So 3, 3, 5. But yeah, so if this moves up super fast and super suspicious, then that could be an idea that we have. So there you go. That's XRP. Really nothing else. I guess we can look at the small time frames in here. I like this. I like the small time frames because it looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 waves. Now, if I put on this, let's go up to the 1 hour. Do we have bear or bullish divergence? Yes, we do. Yeah. So we have divergence from there, right? And then we also have some divergence in here. So that's good. So it looks pretty good. Now, if we look even closer, what's going on here? This could be a flat. The problem with this is it could be a flat. It could be A, B, C, and we're going to just tank down. So if I flip the chart upside down, let's see. Let's try to remove my biases. And let's see if it can trick my brain here. So to me, yeah, this could be a flat. A, B, C. But I don't like the way it looks here. We'll have to get more information, but I'd rather see it come down more, which is going up, right? So there you go. That's XRP. Let's not forget where XRP is on the grand scheme of things, right? Because to me, again, I think this is incredibly bullish. We've been creating this monster base for over 7 years. Right, we have a 3-wave shape in here, right? We have reaccumulation, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We have a big monster breakout, and then by the way, we're now in this zone in here. So XRP has never tested these waters, right? So it's going back and forth. It's testing them before it ventures off into C, right? So the big question is this going to be A, B, C, and then get something like that? And if that is, then that means we have some downside to come. Big downside before upside. So very interesting spot. Because look, this is just a 3-way move that took the top, and now it's back below the top. So it's a very dangerous place to be. That's why we're basically all our eggs... I shouldn't say that. All of our hope here is on this 3-way pullback. If it's not, then yeah, we're just going to have to deal with it, But either way, we're going to break out. You know why we're going to break out? Because look at this. If we go to the quarterly candle, guys, we have 1 month to go. This will be the highest quarterly candle in the history of XRP. Let's go to the 2 month. Let's go to the monthly. So the monthly could also be there. Let's see here. Let me look at the 2-month chart. There we go. Wow. So the 2-month, guys, think about this for just a second here. I know everyone's bearish, and it's not so nice, especially with the rest of the market. But look at this. In 11 days, if the candle ends where it is, this will be the highest 2-month candle in the history of XRP. You can see all these little candles in here, right? Look at the difference between the, the 2-month is very interesting because you could see doji, 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 and this is actually looks like a breakout candle. So, I mean, just look at it. You're kind of flagging out in here. You broke out. Now, you can't see that with the naked eye on the smaller time frames. So the 2-month chart is painting a different it's painting a picture of continuation. So, yeah, interesting. What about the 4-month chart? Just curious what it looks like. The 4-month chart, I got to be stingy with my time. Look at that, guys. The 4-month chart ends in 11 days. And so we have 4, 8, 12. We have 3 of these candles a year. And we're about to have the highest 4-month candle, the highest 2-month candle, potentially the highest monthly candle. So I think we're doing rock solid. I think we're doing good. And you could see, look at this. You have a cup, you have a handle, you have a W shape. So I'm not worried at all. I'm more concerned for my short-term trades than I am my hodl position. I've never been worried about my hodl position ever because I trust it. I have full conviction. Remember, we don't live in a people system. We live in a central banking fiat currency debt enslavement system that prints money out of thin air. They loan it to the government with interest attached. Then we, the taxpayer, have to pay it back plus interest. What kind of rigged deal is that? So that's why I look at gold, silver, crypto. I mean, things that protect your purchasing power from rising inflation and corruptness in the banking system. Because at the end of the day, this system is designed to not benefit you, but to make you work harder for less. This is why we must, for the future of our children and grandchildren, we must position ourselves in a way where we can come out alive at the other end. Right? So I don't always like what Gregory Mannarino has to say. I think he's wrong about Trump, but I believe he is right about the banking system and the Fed and all that. And not just him, but many, many other people agree. So, and I believe that Trump will go head to head with the Fed. This is going to happen. So I'm wondering if that either, because I believe we're going to get a big crash, right? We're going to get a big crash, but does that happen now or does that happen later? The reason why is because if Trump is battling the Federal Reserve, right? If he's telling him, "Oh, you're too late, Jerome Powell. You are too late. You're too late for lowering the rates." Well, what does that mean? Too late? That means it's too late. We're already screwed, right? It's like if hijackers jacked a plane, and they're gonna run it into a building, and then you finally everyone bum rushes the terrorist and they subdue them, but the building is literally the plane is literally 500 yards away from the building, and the terrorist looks up and says, "Well, too late." Boom, right? It hits the building anyway. So nobody in the world says too late unless it's done, right? It's like you put just come up with any analogy, right? So that tells me that Jerome Powell is too late, meaning if we have an economic collapse or a financial crack or something that happens in the financial system, all Trump has to do is say, "Jerome Powell, this is your fault. You're too late. I told everyone you were too late. I told you," right? So he sets the narrative up so that now everyone's pissed off because they lost a lot of money. And all that anger and frustration is towards Trump, but then he directs it towards the Fed, and then now the Fed takes the blame, and then that's when we can start transitioning, looking at the Fed, saying, "Hey, why do we even use this system in the first place?" Right? There needs to be an event in order for it to work. So, all right, let's go to Theta, or let's go to Bitcoin here. Oh man, CRV. I went short on this right here. Right? Let me show you exactly where I went short. I saw it right here. I went short, and then I had to cut the short. So it was a little bit of a short, but then now it came back. But anyway, that trade's over with. So if we look at Bitcoin here, now this is where it gets a little interesting, and I hope I'm not too long on the video, because the longer this video goes, the longer it takes to upload. So today's Wednesday, so you might see this tomorrow, but it's still relevant. So what I like about Bitcoin is that we now have a flat. I mean, it's perfect. Look, we have 3 waves down, we have 3 waves up, and look, we have 5 waves down. So we have an A, B, C. We have a flat. We have a 3-wave move. I mean, boom, look at that. Right? So we pump, right? We pump, 3-way pullback. We pump, 3-way pullback. We pump, 3-way pullback. We pump, 3-wave pullback. We pump, 3-way pullback. We pump, 3-way pullback. But then it turns into a more complex 3-way pullback. So this is corrective, this is corrective, this is bullish. Let's go bullish, right? So I think this is nice. I love it where we're at here. Let's take a trend-based fib extension and let's look at where we are exactly. So would you look at that? We basically hit the 1-to-1. So this would be the area where we would really want to see some kind of reversal, right? Now it might not be over, because if you look at this, right? Let's take a trend based on this guy. This is a nasty guy right here. This son of a gun went all the way down to the 2. So that would be the equivalent, if that was going to do a major expanded flat, that would be down at 103K. So that would be bad. But, you know, it wouldn't be the end of the world if it did something that drastic, but I don't think so. I think, if anything, it would be between the 1 and the 1618. So, yeah, so let me put a zone here. Yeah, so that would be 10 right there. So it's possible that this can go like this and then start to go, right? So Bitcoin is to me, it's in a good spot. I don't see anything wrong with Bitcoin. The problem, though, is, well, if we break below this range, that's not going to be good. We want to hold this. If we can hold it, there's nothing to worry about in my eyes, because this to me just looks like a 3-wave correction. So Bitcoin, not bad at all. Ethereum, Ethereum it could be an issue because it went up so much. So I'm wondering, well, maybe it's exhausted, because it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves here. So what if we had a 3-way pullback? If we had a 3-way pullback up here, how would that translate to the other coins like avax, Theta, XRP, right? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't, because they don't have a lot of wiggle room, whereas Ethereum has major wiggle room. I mean, Ethereum can go all the way back down to $2,000 and it'd still be good. It could crash. Let's see if I put it right here. It could literally crash 50% and it'd still be bullish. So, but for Ethereum, it doesn't look like the top is in. I mean, quite yet. To me, this looks, either this is going to be an A, B, C, and then a continuation, or we're just flagging out in here, 3, 3, and then maybe 5, a zigzag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, zigzag. Now we're pumping here. We're going to get a pullback and then just keep going. That's also, but look, the trend is your friend. And what does the trend say? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher, So until that breaks, we have to assume that it's going to keep going. Theta. So when we look at Theta, we're getting crunched in here, right? I just drew a couple trend lines, but you could see, first of all, right, If you guys know anything about Theta and AI, let me know in the comments section. What do you think about that? But so for Theta, we could see we're building a little bit of a box down in here after our three-way pullback. So again, it's really nothing changed on this one. The whole idea here is to get back up to here. So if this is a Wyckoff, I believe that will happen. I don't know exactly how it's going to look or when it's going to take place, but I would imagine it would be this year, and I would imagine it would be I'd imagine it would be a little bit complex. It's not going to be too easy. So let's zoom in on here. So you could see we're just kind of, you know, doing some kind of a triangle or something. It's not confirmed yet, but basically, you know, if this is 3 down, if this is an A and this is a B, then we could be coming down in our spring or our creek phase for C, and then kind of creep around and then come up and then break off, and that would be a completed Wyckoff. So it just doesn't look finished to me. It doesn't look like, hey, I'm ready to go right now. It looks like I'm still in the process of fixing this wave, completing this wave, right? Because you could see we haven't taken the low yet, or we haven't taken the high. So we're right in the middle between this wave. So we don't know if this is a retrace, like a B wave, like 3, 3, and then 5, or if this is 3 and it's done, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's a 1, and this is a 2, and now we're ready to go for 3. We could be ready to break out now. So the market is in a place where it could be really up or down. So that's what makes it very challenging. But if it's challenging, then what do we do about it? Well, we just zoom out. We zoom out and we say, okay, if the smaller time frames are too iffy, like it could do this, it could do that, then what do the larger time frames say? The larger time frames say that, to me, this is accumulation, right? Look how massive this crash is. We went all the way down in 5 waves. And you're telling me that this little tiny wave is all we're going to get as far as a bounce? I don't think so. I think this is going to break out, because it just seems like that's what it would do. Now, it's possible that this whole thing is 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, and this is A, B, C, and it's a flat. A, B, C, a flat. And now this is going to start to go down in wave 5. The issue with that is it just looks way too big. But then if that happened, guys, then I can see Theta breaking out into new all-time highs in this coming cycle, because it would have completed. It would be A, B, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5 for C. But I just don't like the way that looks. It just doesn't seem right to me. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it for Theta. I mean, let's zoom in one more time here. So on the smaller time frames, oh yeah, this is what I was going to talk about. Okay. So let's look at, so let me show you this bullish thing on the price of Theta. You ready? Look at this. So I'm going to pause the video. You can see that's a nice trend line there, but look at this. To me, this looks a lot like a falling wedge. So a falling wedge is bullish, right? So the idea with a falling wedge is it would come back up here at some point. So we have, you know, this could be 3 waves down right in here, right? And now if it comes up, maybe comes back down one time, and then it shoots up here. So yeah, falling wedge, I love it. It looks great. Now the other thing is, you could kind of compare it to this wave here. Look, you have 3 down, right? 3 down, and then it breaks the final low, it breaks the final low. You have a little bit of clusters in here, right? Then it shoots up, pulls back. If it shoots up, pulls back, and then it starts to go, basically like a fractal, you know. So yeah, I'm really curious. Is this an A, B, C, and then we go? Or is this an A, and this is a B, complex B, and then a C, and then we go? Or it could be that this is a 1, 2, and now we're going to go 3, 4, 5. So it's really like, man, it's a tough one. What I would say, though, is if this starts breaking the low, then it's going to be more likely to do that. If it breaks above this trend line, it could be the B or the impulse. So we'll see. So AVAX, you know, could be like an ascending triangle, if you will, right? You know, maybe like boom, boom, 3 down, come back up, and then something like that. I could see that happening. It just doesn't, when something doesn't look finished or when something doesn't make sense, it's usually because it's not finished. Once it's finished creating the structure, then we can say, okay, this is what it's probably doing. But until then, we have to just come up with some ideas. And obviously we have a Wyckoff idea, ascending triangle idea, 2 bullish ideas. The bearish idea would be that this is a 3-way pullback and we're just going to keep coming down, which would totally suck, right? So we'll see. So if it's not totally clear, then we zoom out. And when we zoom out, it still looks good, in my opinion. I think it looks great. What about, see, look at this. We're even back above the bull market support band. That's really good. And what else? I'm sure like the MACD could be some, I don't have a lot of time on this video, but we can look at the oscillators, the MACD, and things like that. Now the moving averages need a lot of work, especially like the weekly and stuff. But you could see they're getting tight in here. They're starting to level off, and you want to see them get tight and then break. So let's check out, was Theta back above? See, Theta is like in the bull market support band. And you can see Consensio is going down, 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 down. All the moving averages are pointing down. So Theta needs a lot of work. So in order for this to work, a lot of times what happens is they'll get tight in here. And then they'll break out, and then they'll start to wrap around like that. All right, so that's basically it. Like when we look at HBAR, you know, it really comes down to 2 ideas. Again, it's the same thing. Look, you got point A, point B, point C. You know, is this a flat and is this a double bottom? And now we're flagging out like a 1, 2, 1, 2 back test the bull market support band, then break out? Or is this 3, 3, 3, then we break out? So if we zoom in, oh, you know what? I had a fractal. Let me show you. So this was the fractal that I was looking at yesterday. So here's XRP, right? You could see, you know, we had this flat right in here, double bottom, but look at the side. Here's HBAR, right? So you have an impulse, impulse, expanded flat, come up here correctively, come up here correctively, then come back down, double bottom. And then look what XRP did. It shot way up here. So the question I have is, well, that adds confluence to our B wave, our complex B wave theory, which is the wave comes way up here first, like that, just like that. So it would be boom, 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 just like boom, 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 right? So if that's the case, and we zoom and we go back in and we look here, we have a flat, right? We have a double bottom, and I like the way this double bottom is looking. Let me just get rid of that because I don't. You could see, it's kind of like a little bit of a roundabout. It gets everybody bearish, right? And it could be very bearish, because look you're right at resistance. You're cupping down, you're cupping down, you're cupping down. It could be very bearish. Or it could be a trap where we just shoot up like that, and then everybody gets bullish, but then that's when it comes down, right? That's when it comes down. So it's trapping people here, it's going to trap people here, and it's going to trap people there. It's just the way it works. Because again, if this goes up like this, we have 3, 3, and here's the bull market support band. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We nail it, we back test it, and then we blast off. So that would be my main idea right there. That would be my main idea right there. The alternative to that is this just breaks down now. And it's just simple. It's real simple. And then we go. The alternative to that is that we get like a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we do something like that. So, man, there's a lot of what, if, ands, and buts. There's a lot of it. So we just have to deal with it. Chainlink, you're getting bearish divergence up here. It's kind of flagging out though, so it's interesting. But it's one of those things that we just got to be patient, because this could break out at any moment, honestly, because of where we're at. I mean, you can see right where we're at, point A, point B. All it's going to take is a piece of news, interest rates or crypto related. I don't know. It could be a lot of different things that can kick it off quickly. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we touched on a lot of stuff, like XLM even, right? If this turns into a three-way pullback, that's going to be good, right? So you could see HBAR was like right here. You know how it was starting to cup down? So if you could see what happened here. We created a base a little bit right in here. So if we get that with HBAR, but on the smaller time frames, right? So if we start creating a little bit of a base right in here, that could be a good sign. Yeah, we're pumping here. So shib is the same thing as like theta. It's the same kind of look. You got the Wyckoff in here. We're trying to figure out if that's a three-way move. Litecoin is interesting. It could be a flat in here, a running flat. That's a tough one. So yeah, everything looks good so far, so good. Right, again, we're at a dangerous spot on some of these retraces, but at some point something's got to give, and the crypto market's got to flourish, right? Because again, we got regulations. We're going to get more regulations. We're going to get the ETF. You're going to get interest rates, but we just have a little bit of uncertainty still. So we wait for that. Same thing with like ADA. You can see we corrected to the downside beautifully. We pumped up, we pulled back, we had a double bottom. We pumped up again, we back tested the bull market support band, and then we pumped up again, right? So this could come back down and retest it, and it can turn into a flat. But as long as it corrects bullishly, then we can see a big blast off, because you could see this is a very important area right in here. Look at that. Look at that. Look how long that is. That's like what, February to now? So, but on the smaller time frames, yeah, you could see, 1, 2, 1, 2, we're pumping the high. But look at this, you got a three-way pullback. That's good. So if it could turn into a bigger one, this could be a flat, a running flat, and then we go. So I don't know if it's finished right now. You want to get away from the scene of the crime. Anytime you have a big drop and then it shoots straight up, it's most likely setting up for a short. So people are going to short it, and then it's going to kind of do this, right? It'll come back, test the low, and then maybe come back up again, and then there's your 3 waves up, right? And then it does it again, and then you have another 3. So it really traps people. But when we zoom out, to me, everything looks like it's supposed to. You can see that trend line there. So at the worst, we should hit that trend line at some point. Now, Filecoin, looks. I don't even have a comment on that one. It's just been really bad. But at the same time, it's generational low prices, once in a lifetime opportunity prices. Yeah, you can see fetch flagging out in here. I'm just looking at a lot of charts, just trying to understand the environment. Monero. Remember, Monero had that 3-way pullback. Back tested in here. Curious to see what it's doing now. Yeah, and look what happened. You spiked off the low, just like we were just talking about earlier. What happens when you go down and you spike so quickly, you just fizzle out. That's because you didn't build a base. So other than that, let's take a look here. Wow, Chainlink is up 10%. Not bad at all. So total 3. That's going to be a long video anyways, I guess. Total 3. You do have, look at this. You do have 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have a 3-way pullback. I mean, that's pretty good. This could be, let me see here. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you would have 1, 2, 1, 2, and then that would be your 3. Or if this is 1, 2, this whole thing could be part of wave 3. But total 3 looks good, looks better than others did, because even when we come up here, you have a 5-wave move and you have a 3-way pullback. So this could turn into a little bit of a bigger one. We'll see. Or even some kind of a flat. We'll see. But I think really, this is bullish here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this keeps continuing to pump. XRP versus Bitcoin actually looks good. It looks better than XRP versus USD. I just don't like how it's bottlenecking right here. It's kind of like boom, 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 boom. You could get a quick dump here before going up. Algorand looks nice, very nice. Look at that. You broke above the bull market support band. You flagged out. You tested it. You pumped. And now you're testing it again. So it looks really good. The daily chart. Yeah, Algorand looks nice. I would have bought some last night. Damn, look at that candle. Now, this candle is not going to last. This candle is not going to... I mean, that'd be funny if it did. Oh, man. It does look really good. I didn't even see that candle. And then... Okay, so you have this 3-wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 1, and then 3-way pullback, and this could be our impulse. We could literally be going in the 3rd wave this week and next week. So it's exciting. It's confusing at times, but I think we got a pretty good read on this market. I think we got a really good read on it. I just feel like some things need a little bit more time. I mean, I'm looking at Algorand and I'm thinking, damn, this thing looks pretty nice. You know, when I zoom all the way out, I don't like the way it looks because there's no trend. I mean, you just had this big three-way move. So if you imagine a rally here, a three-way pullback, and then a 1-2, 1-2, I could see how nice that would look, right? But what I like about it is just looking at this wave right in here. You know, you got 5 up, 1, 2, right? 1, 2. So the difference is this one broke the low. Like Theta is like this, right? This one's more of a flat. It broke the top like XRP did. So it's in a running flat position, right? And I think the reason why it is in a running flat position is because Algorand went below its C19 low. That's the equivalent of XRP being at 30 cents right now, 20 cents. So it's crazy. So yeah, this thing can really, let's see here. If we just got back up to the retrace levels, you know, you're looking at 650%. That's not bad at all, right? Algorand has not had a real bull run, and Algorand is so good. Even Gary Gensler likes it, and that guy don't like anything. He actually talked about it in his MIT lectures about Algorand, you know, and he said it was good, and you know, so maybe it's not good, you know, because he likes it. I don't know, but yeah, see it. I would track this guy here. I'd like to see a little bit of a move down and then kind of swoop up here. But then if we swoop up, if this comes up here like that, then what is it going to do? Well, it could still be a three-way move up, and we would still maybe potentially need 5 or 3 down before going up. So it could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, go. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is very unlikely. I mean, it's possible, but or you could have simply just come down and then pop the high. So we want a finished wave. Boom, boom, boom. That's not finished. Look what I just drew. That's what it is. It's not finished. It needs more. So let's see. Did XRP get a pump like that? No. Did it? Yeah, not really. It got a little tiny pump. Theta didn't get a big pump. Algorand did. Let's see. I'm trying to see another chart like Algo. CRV had a little bit of a better pump. Now you can see things are starting to come down. HBAR, a little bit of a pump there. So all in all, not bad at all. Let's see what happens this week. Thursday, if you're watching this on Thursday or even Friday, it's still relevant. You know, so the big thing is the stock market. We want to see the stock market breaking out into new all-time highs. That's what we really want to see. So let me just look at Ethereum real quick. Okay. Now, if we look at the stock market, it's definitely coming down pretty. It's coming down pretty good. So you could see very clearly that's coming down. So let's see if this turns into kind of like a flat in here. You know, you move up, you kind of chill out a little bit, and then you keep pushing. That would be the idea. And then the RTY, the Russell. Actually, it doesn't look bad right here. Well, the Russell, we want to, because we have a flat. Come on, get out of there. We have a flat. Boom, boom, boom. Right? So it looks good, solid. We have an impulse. Now we came up so fast, so quick. We have to like kind of chill out a little bit. flag out, back test the bull market support band, then go. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Remember, not financial advice, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.